Hi everyone. So for close to a decade now, I have been experimenting with putting oils in my hair and on my scalp to increase hair health, hair length, hair thickness, how fast my hair grows. And let me tell you, those beginning experiments close to 10 years ago were very messy. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what types of oils to use, how much to use, how to wash it out. I've come a long way since then. So you're gonna notice this big pot here in front of me. We'll talk about that in a moment, but basically for about now 6 years, I have been experimenting with a specific concoction, a hair potion, if you will, of what I consider to be the perfect combination of a variety of all natural, mostly organic, holistic ingredients, oils, as well as herbs, as well as essential oils that all work synergistically to improve hair health, scalp health, how fast my hair grows, how thick it grows, how shiny it is. And it has made a world of difference in me now embarking on an all-natural hair care journey that I've been on for the past 7 years or so. For the past 1 year, this recipe has been made public to you all on my blog, and I have received countless requests to sell it. Now, up until very recently, this never seemed like a very real possibility for me. I am a busy mom of 5. We were living in relatively small living quarters, and we have since moved to the country. We have more space, and so it felt like the time was right to begin sharing this recipe with all of you, sharing the years and years of passion and experimentation that have gone into creating what I consider to be the perfect, all-natural, traditional, Ayurvedic inspired herbal hair growth oil. So today I'm going to be mixing up my very first large batch of this, taking you along for the journey of that and talking to you about the different ingredients and what their amazing properties are. So let's go ahead and begin. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in the olive oil. I love olive oil. It is so nourishing. It is also such a stable oil. It is rich in vitamin E and antioxidants. It's really nourishing for the hair, for the scalp, for the follicles. It can help to repair damage. A lot of people in our modern Western culture here tend to be a little bit paranoid about using oils in their hair because they think, well, my hair is oily enough already. I can't handle adding more oil into my hair when it's already oily. But the thing about that is adding oils into your hair and onto your scalp especially can, in a strange sort of counterintuitive seeming way, actually help to balance out your scalp's production of oils, especially when these oils are acting as carriers for the more medicinal scalp balancing ingredients of the herbs and the essential oils. Basically, it encourages your scalp to self-regulate a little better. So the next ingredient that I'm going to be measuring into this pot is coconut oil. So coconut oil is really an amazing oil. It is so rich, so nourishing, super stable oil, again, like the olive oil. It is rich in lauric acid, which is the same substance that's found in breast milk that everyone knows is super amazing and good for you. It is really nourishing to the hair because it is one of the few oils that has small enough particles to actually be able to penetrate into the hair strands rather than simply just coating the outside. So I've always loved coconut oil for that reason. It really is kind of like a leave-in conditioner. It really does absorb into the hair and leaves the hair feeling conditioned, just like you used a leave-in conditioner rather than an oil. It is very rich, so we're going to be balancing these heavier oils out soon with some lighter oils. But for now, let's start painstakingly scooping this into the pot. So you will notice again that this is going to be rather a painstaking process because, of course, coconut oil is solid at room temperature. We will be melting it down and it will be totally liquid in the final product, but I guess I just like to talk about how much it is important to me to use completely unrefined products, even when it makes my life a little more difficult. I really just want this oil to be as potent and natural and unprocessed as possible, even at the cost of my own convenience. So yeah, like I could have bought some sort of processed liquefied coconut oil, but that is really just not for me. This is completely unrefined, all natural raw coconut oil that we are scooping in here. So I am just going to keep on putting this in the pot. We'll add in our other oils. I'll talk to you about those as soon as I finish this, and then we'll move on to the next steps. Okay, so the next really great oil that we're going to be adding is golden jojoba oil. This is again completely raw, unrefined jojoba oil, organic. And jojoba oil is wonderful because, first of all, it's a lighter oil. I love jojoba oil. It really lightens up this oil from the heavier oils of olive and coconut. It is also the oil that most closely mimics human sebum. So it's basically like the closest plant-based oil that you can get to your own natural skin oils and skin sebum. And it's rich in B vitamins, zinc, copper. It's really great for the scalp, promotes hair growth, and it's great for the hair strands as well without overly weighing them down. Okay, so next is a real hair growth powerhouse ingredient, which is castor oil, which is a very thick oil. So there's not a lot of it compared to the other oils. I mean, there is still a fair amount, of course, but it is just known for, you know, hundreds if not thousands of years to promote hair growth, hair thickness, grow hair longer. People use it on their eyebrows, on their eyelashes. And yeah, it's just a real powerhouse for improving hair growth. And it's also just a great all-around healing, balancing, cleansing oil, believe it or not. It's another one of those oils that can really help to balance the oil production on your scalp. Next is neem oil, which is very thick and rich and dark brown in color. We are not adding a lot of this one because it is super potent, very medicinal, and does have a very strong smell. So we are using this one in moderation. It's one of the more medicinal ingredients, I would say. So neem oil is really highly esteemed in Ayurvedic traditions for its wide range of healing properties, not just for hair and scalp concerns, but also for internal things. It is really great for combating any type of bad things in the scalp. I mean, anything from lice to more microscopic things like fungal growth in the scalp. It is very potent antibacterial. Just really, really amazing for boosting hair growth as well. I really love the neem plant in general, not just the oil, but also the leaf for its hair growth promoting properties. It is very smelly though. It's very potent. A little goes a long way. Now comes the first real herbal powerhouse ingredient in this recipe. This is fenugreek. There's quite a bit of it in this recipe. It's like the main featured herb in it. And for good reason. Fenugreek is really prized in Ayurvedic tradition for its many wide healing properties, both for internal health as well as hair health. Again, this is one of those situations where I am not taking the easy way out. I am freshly grinding this fenugreek because you could use whole fenugreek seeds, but in my opinion, they won't give off as much good properties into the oil when they are whole. So I am grinding them because I like a nice, fresh, coarse grind of fenugreek seeds, not like the pre-ground powder either, because I feel that that could also have lost a lot of its potency and its fresh fenugreek flavor. So this is what I'm doing. Okay, so I finally finished grinding up all of this fenugreek, these fenugreek seeds. The smell is just like heavenly. A little bit reminiscent of curry, which is actually kind of the thing you want when it comes to Ayurvedic hair growth oils. So that's all ready to go, our main herbal ingredient. So I have one more thing left to grind, and it is this MSM, these MSM crystals, I should say. MSM is a form of what we could call organic sulfur. So like we need sulfur for healthy hair and healthy skin and healthy nails and healthy joints and bones. But it tends to be one of those things that is really deficient in most people's diets today because of the state of our soil being rather depleted. So taking MSM internally can be helpful for certain people in certain situations. In this case, we're going to be using it topically, of course, in our herbal hair growth oil. Now, in order for this to, oh, there's a fenugreek seed in there. In order for this to completely dissolve in the oil, I'm going to be grinding it up until it is very, very, very fine of a powder. So now this is ground. I'm literally just gonna put it in with the fenugreek because this is all going to be together soon in the oil pot. Okay, so now we're adding in one of my favorite Ayurvedic herbal powders, which is henna leaf powder. Henna is an amazing strengthening herb. It actually has the potential to like create this very thin coating over each individual hair strand that like fills in any areas of damage in the hair shaft. So it basically provides this like protective armor around each hair strand, which prolongs its life. It also adds body and volume to your hair, and it promotes hair growth. It's great for scalp health. It's full of vitamin E, antioxidants, and other vitamins, tannins. It is a cooling herb in the Ayurvedic tradition. So it actually does have a nice cooling sensation on the scalp. And it's also another one of those that is really great at treating any sort of like fungal issues in the scalp, as well as dandruff, which can be caused by fungal issues as well. Okay, so it's time to address the elephant in the room, which is the henna in this hair growth oil going to color your hair? Because a lot of people know about henna as being the herb that people use for those traditional tattoos and things. But when it is in an oil base, the amount of color or dye that can be released by the henna is basically completely negligible. It doesn't release its dye when it's in oil, only when it's in a slightly acidic water-based solution. And so when it's in a pure oil, it's very unlikely that it will color your hair. So I just wanted to shout that out. But of course, always do a strand test if you're concerned or if you have very light colored hair. If you are just very concerned about this oil coloring your hair, then I would recommend just using it on the scalp only. Just going to add this into the herbal mixture. And we just have one more amazing Ayurvedic herb to add in. By the way, the smell of this is just amazing. I love the smell of henna and the fenugreek. So now it's time for our final herbal ingredient, which is amla powder. So amla is also known as Indian gooseberry. It literally looks like a giant gooseberry that's about this big, and it is known as a superfood. It's an adaptogen. It is just really great all around herbal medicine or food, however you want to look at it. And in this case, of course, it's great for topical use for hair growth, a hair tonic, a scalp tonic. Amla is a herb that has actually been studied scientifically and proven to work extremely effectively over time at increasing the amount of hair that is growing, thickening up areas that were previously very thin, as well as boosting the thickness of each individual hair strand that's growing out of each follicle as well. It's also known to prevent premature graying of the hair, or possibly even reverse some degree of graying that has already occurred. And it's extremely rich in vitamin C and antioxidants. The reason why I wanted to add it to my recipe is because the MSM, or the sulfur that's in this recipe, is known to work synergistically with vitamin C. And rather than adding in a synthetic vitamin C powder that has no other benefits other than just the vitamin C, I chose to go for a natural source of vitamin C that also has a myriad of other benefits. Now it's basically time for the magic step in this process, which is adding all of these herbs into this special bag. So I had to go through an enormous learning curve when figuring out how to adapt this small recipe that, although I had been making for a long time, I had only been making it in very small quantities for myself only. So I had to go through a learning curve to figure out how to adapt it for industrial amounts. And what I found was that it's quite easy to actually lose a lot of the oil to these herbal powders, like sucking it up and not, like you're not able to totally strain out all of that afterwards. So I did a lot of research and I ended up deciding that the best method is to use this food grade mesh bag. This is actually used in beer brewing operations, but it works perfectly for my purposes today. It keeps the herbs completely separated from the oil, but it is completely submerged in the oil at the same time. So it basically acts as a giant tea bag that allows the herbs to infuse into the oil, but still allows for easier straining when it's all done. So I'm just gonna finish adding all of these herbs into this bag, and then we're going to go ahead and submerge this bag in the pot of oil, and we're done. And it's going to sit for 3 weeks. So I'm just gonna finish this. Okay, so I have all the herbs in this big giant mesh bag. So we're just gonna go ahead and put this into the pot of oil. Very carefully. And go ahead and submerge that in while leaving the top out. Maybe you'll hear all my kids outside. They've had a long day having to stay quiet during the filming of this video. Okay, so now that this is all finished, the preliminary mixing, I'm going to put this on a special heating pad, especially for keeping things just a little tiny bit warm. It's typically used for fermentation and stuff, but for my purposes, it'll be perfect just for keeping this pot a little bit warm while it infuses all of the goodness from these herbs into the oil. And I'm going to be stirring this and kind of agitating it at least once a day, probably during that period. And then I'll see you when this is ready to have the essential oils added and be bottled. Okay, that's all I have to show you today. Don't get me wrong, there is still a lot of post-production after this point with the hair growth oil, like taking out the herbs, straining it, adding essential oils, and then measuring it out painstakingly into each and every bottle. But this is enough to give you a good taste of the process and just how much love and care goes into making my herbal hair growth oil blend. We are already almost through selling our first batch. At the time of this recording, there is still a few bottles left, so go ahead and snag one. There should be a link in the description if they're still available. Go ahead and snag one for yourself. But otherwise, we are already working on our second batch, which should be ready in a few weeks or so to purchase. And I'm already getting lots of rave reviews about this hair growth oil, so definitely don't wait. Check it out today, and thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.